Hey guys, it is September the 15th, Monday, and I'm starting off this week with a video purposefully. Very busy this weekend, couldn't do one, get one in, and plus I had just did one. So I closed the window and my door because my husband's outside watering the grass. And if I didn't, we would hear all his neighborhood girlfriends coming up. Hi, Bubble. There's like a bunch of older women that live around us. They love my husband. My husband's like the neighborhood gigolo, friendly, what knows everybody. I barely know the people that are on the next side of me, okay? He knows everybody. But anyway, and he used to have this really very distinguished, nice looking older lady. She had all white, beautiful hair. And she had to be about, I don't know, mid to late 80s. And she would always, oh, hi, where's he at? Where's he at? And I'd be like, ugh, she wants you. But anyway, he's just that guy, so we don't want to hear all his little conversations. Um, but I do have a story I wanted to start off with, and just to kind of show you that things always work behind the scenes. Okay, love is always working, and I've told you guys that a billion times. All right, maybe like hundreds of times, but um, I guess almost now a month ago, I was in my lottery store getting my scratch off, which you guys know I love to do, and there was this. I wasn't really paying attention. I'm at the machine picking out which ones I like. But I kept hearing, sir, it was declined. And I heard that about two or three times. And finally I started paying attention. And I turn around and there's this really old man. He had to be 90 if he was a day. And he was bent over, he had a cane. And apparently he kept trying to use his debit card to pay for his little lottery purchases. And so finally she's the girl, who I do know, she says, "Look, I can't put this through anymore. I did it 3 times and it keeps declining it." And so then he says, well, can you just try? I think I have maybe like $13 or $14 in there. Can you take off a couple of dollars? She's like, "No, I can't. You can't delete whatever he was trying to do." So I went right up to the thing and I told her, just here. I gave her a 20, told her just pay for his lottery. And he looks at me and he's like, "Oh, thank you, thank you." And then that was it. Completely forgot about it. I'm in the store this weekend. I'm at the machine and I hear somebody say, "There she is. There she is." And I turn around and it's this guy. And I almost didn't even recognize him, to be honest with you. But then it clicked. And he tells his, whoever she was with him, I don't know who she was, but he tells her, he says, "Give me my money." And so he's telling the girl, "That's the one that paid for my lottery." And then it's really clicking for me, right? Like, oh yeah, that's that little guy that didn't have the $18 or whatever it was. So she hands him this, not a wallet thing, but it's like this plastic thing. He takes out $200 bills and hands it to me. He says, I've been looking for you for the longest time. I come in here almost every day hoping I would see you. I hit the number a couple weeks ago, really big, and I've been wanting to pay you back. So naturally, I'm like, I'm not taking that. You enjoy your money. And so he's determined. I'm going to take this money. And the girl's like, look, just take the damn. I'm like, I'm not taking that money. I'm not taking that money. I said, tell him, because he's a little hard of hearing too. But tell him, pass it on, give it to somebody else. I said, I'm not taking that money. But I gave him a little hug. He was very upset with me. And he kept trying to just, do this and stuff like that. But anyway, I would not take that money. And I could tell that, you could just tell this poor guy came into a windfall and he needed every bit of it. And I was so happy for him. And I said, look, get him out this damn store. Because he kept saying, take it, take it, take it. And she finally got him out the store. She said, okay. She said, we'll do something nice with it. So, but two things with that really hit me. This guy remembered me. This was almost a month ago. It had to be a month ago. That's the first thing that got me. And the second thing that got me was the fact that his eyes lit up so much thinking he could do some good. So I just had to share that because it just happened this weekend. And I'm sure he'll never watch this video, and neither will whoever was with him. But I loved what I saw because it's the circle of reciprocity, right? We keep that circle going, okay? And so I have no doubt that that guy will somehow bless someone else, or or the girl even maybe, because she was kind of like, you know what, we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. So I just wanted to share that nice story. How love just beams out sometimes, and it's always there. It's totally shocking to me. I didn't think I would ever see that guy again, and surely I didn't think he would remember me. He's very, very old. I would even say he's about 94, 95. Okay, so sharp little bugger. Sharp little bugger. You go. But anyway, I have something very special I want to talk about later on. I was going to say that, it was me that wanted to do it, but no, it's not. It really isn't. I cannot lie. It's Spirit wanted me to talk about something, and I think that it will trigger some diamonds inside of you. It will trigger some sort of like a sprout that will just kind of do some good things, okay? And whenever they have their message that they want to, us to partake of, me included now, me included, I always notice in the comments that it definitely triggered some positive, good feedback on what they want to say. Okay, so let's get started, all right? on our news and our spiritual interpretation of it, right? Uh, so, one of the things that I told you about regarding the e files, right? Files, was that they would be released eventually in unconventional ways. And we've already seen that um, with a few of the other things that were released, right? The birthday card, and then there was some other information. Well, Bloomberg dropped 18,000 emails. There was a spreadsheet, and they say it's the spreadsheet from hell. They dropped 18,000 of those. Okay, now I have not looked into them yet or investigated them, and actually, I'm not even really interested in doing that. Mainly because I know that they're real. It happened. Um, we'll just say Don the Con was intricately involved in that whole uh, mess. Okay, so I don't need any further validation or anything like that. All right. But I just thought that was interesting. That's just more stuff coming out, and more will come out. Um, let's see. There was a 7.5 magnitude earthquake in Russia, almost in that same spot. There was a 5.51 in India, and there were several in the Philippines. And there were two, if you remember, spots that I'm really concerned about. One is Russia, and the second one I said was the Philippines. Okay. Those areas, it's not done yet. And then, of course, there were several, excuse me, um, cascading earthquakes since then. The 5.51 in India was on the 14th, as well as the several in the Philippines. Um, the let's see here. The 7.51 in Russia was, I believe, on, was it the 13th or the 12th? But anyway, so now I'm counting just since the 14th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 6. 6 just since the 14th. Today is just the 15th. Okay? There's been 6 4.5 or larger earthquakes in that spot in Russia. Now, what makes this even more interesting to me is Russia, as you know, is trying to dip their toe into NATO territory. They've already sent drones into Poland, and now they're trying to do Romania. Um, I told you it will be, what I saw, what was given to me was it'll be spotty. Okay, it'll be like testing the waters, spotty regional little areas. Okay, they know they can't do a full scale war with NATO. They know that, but they are definitely testing the waters. However, at some point it looks like they're going to be majorly halted in their efforts. Now, something else, Ukraine just sent in drones that destroyed um, an oil depot station. So Ukraine has been brilliantly fighting this war. and they've been targeting key spots in Russia, right? They've been hitting a lot of oil refineries, a lot of power energy sources, right? But this last hit is one of the few remaining ways in which Russia can actually get money. Okay, and that is there's whatever they call it. I don't even know what it's called, um, but it's where the oil gathers and then they pump it onto the large tanker ships and then ship it out. Okay, um, and so Ukraine destroyed that pump and part of that infrastructure so that they cannot, download this oil onto the ship. Ukraine is just, they are what you call genius war fighters. In other words, they're not interested in the blood and gore. They're not interested in being cruel. They're number one trying to save their country, trying to win this war, let it be over. And number three, they are hitting where it truly hurts. Russia doesn't give four craps about its civilians, its population. And so if Ukraine were to hit their like a major city center with populated with a lot of people, Russia could care less about that. They would be more concerned about the buildings that were destroyed than anything, right? So Ukraine is hitting them literally where it hurts. And where it hurts for Russia is right now their economy is struggling. So I just applaud them on this. Now, I did see an astrologer say that Putin was coming into a good type of astrological period where he was going to be kind of whatever, and that Ukraine was going to lose the war. That's not quite what I see. It's not quite what I see. I see Russia being severely damaged by this, but I still see these earthquakes, somehow they are going to play into the entire war drama, destruction. There's something still that's going to happen. So, and astrologers, brilliant as they are, don't always get things exactly on right, right? Just like mediums or psychics don't always get exactly right, because we're trying to interpret things that are off the linear scale of our brains. Our brains are very linear, right? And we're trying to interpret things that are non-linear. And so sometimes you know, we and they and misinterpret or don't quite always get the things exact. So anyway, I see that Russia won't be able to technically call themselves a winner in this horrific war that they've waged. Okay? Now, how about Stephen Colbert winning an Emmy for his show? I told you guys there's nothing but up for this guy. When his show was canceled by CBS and their parent, I guess Paramount or vice versa, whatever, I told you guys he is going to make a bigger footprint elsewhere. And how about a lovely, nice, fitting ending to his show by winning that Emmy? Good for him. I'm more than happy. Love him. And will gladly follow him where he ends up. And he's going to end up somewhere. This is not, and I told you guys before, this is not the last that we are going to hear from him. Okay? ICE, they are having some serious issues recruiting people. Okay? And we had heard about this before, uh, but it's really getting to the point where it's like kind of critical for them. If anyone has a small, tiny violin that they could send me, I'd appreciate if you did, because I'd love to play it. Anyway, Stephen Miller. Um, I had a while ago told you guys that I saw him being very sickly with some type of either autoimmune, skeletal type of disease, something really crippling him, affecting his movement. So, one of the people who watched this channel, lovely person, I don't know whether I should say her name or not. I think I'll err on the side of caution and not say it. But she knows who she is. I asked her to do like an astrological reading on him, and come to find out, there was some information I didn't even know when I gave that prediction, but it aligned right with the prediction. He is a Capricorn, and Capricorn rules the bones and skeletal of your body, right? So she had basically, said that, yeah, it was very possible given his chart, that type of thing. So yesterday, I'm on TikTok, and there's an astrologer called Catherine Loves Astrology, I believe. Could be wrong, but I think that's her. Um, Never seen this person before, ever. But this just popped up on my feed, and that's how spirit does things sometimes. Okay, it'll give me a confirmation or information that I need, and just by making it magically appear, sort of like it did when I was writing my books. Chapter names would just appear on the screen. I would maybe go take a break, go to the restroom, come back, and there'd be a chapter title on the screen. Literally. Like, I've talked about this before. Like, okay, that's what I'm supposed to write about. And then a couple times I would write the name of a chapter I thought, and it would be erased. I'd come back and it'd be gone. But anyway, so that kind of thing happens quite often. But this woman says that Stephen Miller, who is, as you know, the evil architect behind a lot of Don the Con's policies now, um, if you go on TikTok, for those that do have TikTok, maybe she's on YouTube, I don't know. But if you go there, and can you guys tell I'm feeling better? Because I'm a little bit more energetic, and, I'm not talking like I'm barely trying to hang on, right? But anyway, I don't know if she's on YouTube, but she's definitely on TikTok. Um, he's got coming up a Pluto square Pluto, and a Pluto square his midheaven. For those that do not know what that means, let me tell you something. When you have a progressed Pluto square Pluto, or Pluto square your midheaven, it can be deadly. And if it's not deadly in the sense of deadly, it's an extremely destructive, crippling aspect. Pluto and Saturn work a little differently, okay, but they have the same effect. They will force change, destruction, whatever is needed, they will do it. Saturn is more long drawn out. Saturn is like the slow crippler. Okay? Saturn will like slowly torture you. Pluto will just come in and say, you know what? And knock you off your knees. Period. Um, and to those that are going to say, well, no, Pluto's not all about death. No, it's not. But oftentimes it is. Okay? It is. It has destructive forces in the sense of complete transformation. So if it doesn't transform someone or something, okay, it will be out of the picture. Okay? So, I just thought that was something interesting to share. Pluto square Pluto and Pluto square your midheaven, which is your midheaven is basically kind of like your life purpose in a chart, what you kind of came here to do, what drives you. Okay, uh, I that's and he's got a yod. It's forming some type of yod, which is another forced change aspect. Okay, that's a planetary aspect where the planets are in certain positions. They make this yod. Okay, he's got three of those. So, um, I personally just like the confirmation of what I saw. I'll just say that. So I'll put that out there. But anyway, the lady's name again is Catherine Loves Astrology. And I believe the title, Stephen Miller, is there. So go check it out. It's it it's an interesting video, and for those who also needed confirmation of what I said about him, you got it right there. Okay, as you guys know, we just completed this lunar eclipse, and you saw what happened during the lunar eclipse. One of the major MAGA influencers, was unalive during that eclipse. We've got this solar eclipse coming up, the 23rd of this month. I'm going to say there's going to be a two-for-oneer. Okay? And when I say two-for-oneer, I believe somehow that I's Prime Minister, Neti Pot, and our you-know-who, we're going to get some type of two-for-one here. In the sense that either out of commission, violence. You remember for Neti Pot, I've said that violence is going to circle back to him some kind of way. But I just feel it even more strongly. It's like a two-for-one with these two, either out of commission, something major happening with them. So I'm going to put that out there. Okay. Now, someone asked me about the prediction I had made about, by the end of the summer's still here, believe it or not, and it sure feels like it, right? But by the end of the summer, we will either have major contact or it just will be like a common thing, etc. So, during the summer, we did have confirmation from not only NASA, but from major Harvard scientists about this 3 AI atlas, right? And they're all acknowledging it is ET, of ET origin, extraterrestrial origin, right? So, although that is not completely uh, in line with what I said, there is the worldwide acknowledgement because now other countries have chimed in and agreed that hey, it's not a comet, it's something coming, blah blah blah. So, um, I'm gonna adjust that prediction and just say that maybe by the time it gets here, uh, then it will unfold, right? But we do have the acknowledgement that it's of ET origin, um, and it's a worldwide acknowledgement now, okay? And I think that we're being prepped, okay? Are we ready? Are we ready? Now, something I want to add to that, but on a slightly different vein, there are beings, okay, that we believe when we see them, they are of extraterrestrial origin from other places, other planets, other galaxies, but there are some that operate within the different, they are dimensional energies, okay? And when they appear to us, they are of an ethereal type of visage, right? They're sort of um, physical, but not quite. There are some that are so, how can I put it? So highly advanced and so in tune with that universal pulse of divine love, they can operate in between those different dimensions. Okay? And there, believe it or not, there are other levels of existence besides dimensions. Okay? But it's very hard for me to describe them in our terms. And so I'm not going to really try right now. But these entities, like angelic entities, can flow between the different levels of existence. Okay? And make their appearance where needed. Okay? And they are extremely powerful, they are extremely loving, and they are extremely advanced. Okay? Albeit, even if they are sometimes the way they appear or show up in our form seem to be a tad bit frightening. Okay? And they have the ability to take us out of our reality into theirs. So that is why a lot of people who have had experiences are so frightened because our basis, right? The structure of our thought, when being taken into their reality, is so unfamiliar that it can be frightening. Okay? So for those who have had those type of experiences, right? Um, you have not lost your mind. You have not gone nuts. Um, it's just that you have been in a reality that is so foreign to your psyche, right? That it's like the fight or flight type thing. It just produces an instant sensation of fear. Okay? Um, and it's very understandable. So I wanted to kind of put that out there to those who have been dealing with the memory of an ET encounter. Um, they can, like I said, put us in their dimension, their reality, okay, and take us out of ours. And so naturally, it's like being taken from your home in the United States and just being instantly plopped, onto the Antarctic or to the Arctic. Like, it's a totally foreign, different atmosphere, a different place for you to be. Okay? So naturally, you're going to think, you know, or some people are going to think, oh, I'm nuts, or, I'm losing my mind, or. And that is why so much fear is generated. Okay? But just know that more than likely that is not the case. It's really not the case. It's just that your psyche, your being, has been put into a completely foreign atmosphere. And you feel like you've lost your grip on reality when in actuality you've just been exposed to another reality that is foreign from your reality. Okay? So I was led to just talk about that briefly. And I truly hope that helps some gain back some of their self-respect or confidence in their mental, um, wellness, getting a grip on themselves. All right? I truly do. Okay, so the very last thing let me stop, that they want me to talk about is I always come over on here and explain to you guys how the different facets and the different ways that divine love can appear. And I always tell you guys that it doesn't necessarily always come the pretty way, right? It will come in the way that we need it to, right? But sometimes it does and can come pretty, okay? And that is when we allow it to. In other words, sometimes when it shows up in our life, we can't believe it, don't want to accept it, and so therefore we switch our view again to what we think it should look like, or what we think it should be, or how we think it should manifest, right? However, if we get into the mode, the habit of accepting divine love and how it manifests in its way, and not put our perception, our opinion, our way on how it should show up, we can start to see it in much more beautiful ways. We will start to see the true beauty um, in how it manifests. Okay? We always like to think of ourselves as the great masterminds, right? And I've been guilty of it myself. So when I say we, I really mean we, okay? But Sometimes it's really taking a step back and just saying, you know what? I'm just going to look at this for truly what it is. And when you do that, sometimes the beauty of it just unfolds. Accepting it the way it is can truly peel those layers off, allowing you to see the beauty. I wanted to also put a picture up of my lotus. You know, the lotus is my absolute favorite flower because the lotus has so many petals, and when it keeps unfolding, it's just the symbol of continuously unfolding love, right? The energy of love, okay? And it's sort of like, you know, have you ever looked at something and on your initial thought, you're like, ugh, right? And then after a little while, you haven't put that barrier up, you haven't put that judgment up. You just kind of look at it and you're like, oh wow, that's actually kind of nice. I like that. Um, I actually did that with our car that we bought a couple years ago. I'm not a car person, so I don't really care. And my husband liked this car, and I was like, ugh, whatever. Okay. Um, I actually love that car now. I love everything about that car. I probably love it now more than he does. Okay. That may not be the best example. However, that is an example of how, if we can look at the situations that unfold in our life, okay, um, without putting our judgment, knowing that divine love is peeking out from there somewhere, right? It will, what we've done is attached ourselves to that loving energy, okay? And what happens is it's sort of like leapfrogs, and we see more and more and more and more of it, okay? So you're not going to always feel that, ah, I can see it. It's just beautiful. No, no, you're not going to always. However, if you're willing to truly look at it objectively or with that null, neither good nor neither bad viewpoint, right? But that null spot, okay, you will see the beauty. It will be revealed to you more and more and more. And what will happen is you will not only see it in that particular situation that you're looking at, but it will unfold throughout your life, throughout your day to day living. You will see it increasingly more. The key is knowing, accepting that whatever it is, however it's appearing, it's still divine love. Working and weaving its way. And you know, that's a good word, and I'm glad they just gave it to me, because think of when you ever see those older women, they're weaving the rugs or a piece of material, right? And they start off and it really doesn't look like much, right? You're like, God, what's this going to turn out to be? And next you come back and it's like, oh my God, they created like a beautiful rug. It's like beautiful, right? They've been weaving this, and That is how your view of life can start to transform to where you're always in that place of seeing divine love work its, I'm not going to say magic because there's nothing magical about it. It is. It just is. Okay? So, and I could give you like a gazillion different examples besides the weaving rug. I mean, or how I saw my car. There's tons of different examples. People tell me all the time, I thought this was a horrific situation. This happened, and this happened, and this happened. But next thing you know, as I look back, it's like, oh my God, it was wonderful that happened. Because they allowed themselves to see the fuller picture. All right? So, yes, divine love doesn't always come pretty, doesn't always seem pretty, okay? However, if we allow our view to accept that it is there, it is an action always, the beauty starts unfolding more and more. Okay? And it's a constant state of beauty. A very constant state. All right? So, that's what they wanted me to tell you guys. And I have a feeling I'll probably be elaborating more on that um, in the future. But let's get started on that. And let's see how that unfolds, right? Let's see how that unfolds. Anyway, um, take care. And one last thing I want to say is um, a big shout out to all the marginalized people, okay, that this administration is trying to divide, um, put down, etc. Okay. Big shout out to you all. Um, whether it be the LGBTQ, the black and brown community, the single mothers of any race, the not, you know, white Christian nationalist people, to all those others, a big shout out to all of us. And to those who are, um, especially to those who are supportive of inclusion, okay, of tolerance, no matter what color you are. We all join hands mentally, okay, because we know spirit doesn't discriminate. Spirit has no greater than, less than, better than, none of that. Okay? Love is love, and love don't discriminate. And we know that we are on the right side of history. And I will never, ever support any type of divisiveness. I proudly support all the marginalized communities out there proudly. Okay? Because I've seen love, I've seen it in action. And let me tell you, there's just nothing like it. Nothing. Nothing like it. All right. So thanks, guys, for hanging in there with me today. And hopefully, I'll see you soon. And love to all of you. May you all see the love that is there. May you all see it. All right. Take care.